So good morning and welcome to this yoga for getting a good night's sleep. That's what we're concentrating on this week. So we're going to start by coming into child's pose on your mat. And you might want a little bit of support for this, either going over a bolster or using a block underneath your head. But if you're happy in child's pose, just bringing your forehead towards the floor. And you can choose what you want to do with your arms, whether you have your hands down by your side or whether you have your arms stretched out and maybe just not too stretched, but nice and softly extended over your head. So whichever variation you choose, making sure that your forehead's resting on something. So if that means popping a block or a cushion underneath your head, that's okay. It could be more than one if it needs to be. And some people also like to have one underneath their buttocks as well, to create a connection between the buttocks and the heels if they don't meet. Here in child's pose, it's not necessary to have your buttocks on the heels or in contact with some support. But if you feel that it makes the posture better for you, then that's a good thing. And then in your child's pose, relaxing your face, feeling that gentle contact between the forehead and some sort of support, softening the shoulders, and gently allowing your breath to deepen here. As your breath deepens, feeling the effect of that in the back of the body, feeling the lift as you breathe in, and the softening as you breathe out. And once you've been in the pose for a few moments, for a few breaths, you might find that you don't need some of your support. As your body opens and softens down, you might find you need a little adjustment to bring your head maybe just a touch further away from your knees, or allowing your arms to move as your shoulders soften towards the mat. Continue to breathe deeply and just make a gentle note of how you're feeling today. Note the physical sensations in your body. The types of thoughts you're having. Become aware of your emotional state. There's no judgment in yoga. We simply accept the way that we feel, the way that we are. And we can use our yoga practice to have a positive impact. Help us to gently mold ourselves into improved well-being. At the end of your next exhalation, keeping your eyes gently closed, if your arms aren't over your head, just placing them over the head for now. And with the eyes gently closed, coming up onto your hands and knees, so that you can maybe take the knees a little bit further apart if they were quite close together, and do a gentle cat-cow pose, inhaling as you look forward or lift the chest forward, and exhaling, rounding through the spine, chin to the chest, and just squeezing gently under with the tailbone. Inhaling forward, and exhaling, rounding under. Inhaling, lengthening, keeping the belly muscles working gently, but lengthening the front of the body. And exhaling as you round, lengthening the back of the body with the buttocks working gently. 2 more like this. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And then coming back to neutral and just coming to sit in a comfortable position for a moment. Wonderful stuff. So today you can see I've got quite a lot of equipment here, bolsters and rolled blankets, bricks, blocks and a chair. And we may indeed use the wall for a bit of legs up the wall as well. So if you need to get any of this equipment ready, you can stop the video right now and do that. But for those of you who are in class, we're going to do a limbering to sit, so Palmukta asanas for the low body. So if you lengthen your legs out in front of you, and you can either lean back on your hands a little bit, or even put a bolster behind you to lean back, or if you prefer, you can sit yourself up tall. Depends on how your wrists feel sometimes. So we're not going to be here for ages, but just for a little while. And with our feet nice and far apart, we're going to breathe in as we spread out the toes, and then breathe in as we scrunch the toes up. Okay, so breathing in, opening and spreading the space between the toes, breathing out, drawing the toes close together, rounding them in on themselves, just the toes. Breathing in, spreading, breathing out, scrunching. Breathing in, spreading, breathing out, scrunching. Breathing in, spreading, breathing out, scrunching. We'll do just one more like this. Breathing out, spreading, breathing in, spreading, breathing out, scrunching. Lovely job. Now the whole foot. Breathe in the whole foot towards you, toes back towards the body. Breathing out as you point the toes away as far as they can go. Breathing in, breathing out, pointing the toes away. Breathing in, whole foot back towards you. Breathing out, pointing the toes away. Try to explore your full range of movement. Breathing in, breathing out without strain. Breathing in, breathing out. We'll do just one more. Breathing in and breathing out. Lovely job. Allow the feet to be just gently loose and take your feet a little bit further apart. We're going to make big circles with the ankles. So here you can make your feet go in the same direction at the same time, or you can go in opposite directions. It doesn't matter. Do what feels the most natural for you to do. And if you wish to, you can coordinate your breath as well. So you can breathe in as the toes come back towards the body and breathe out as the toes move away. And keeping that coordination with our breath allows us to make these movements really purposeful and full, and slightly slower perhaps than we would make them without the coordination of the breath. Let's do one more in this direction. And then reversing to the opposite direction. So you can breathe in the toes back towards you, breathing out toes away, if you like. Nice, slow, steady circles, exploring the whole of the range of the movement of your ankle and noticing just how much of your leg is involved in that movement. That's why the movement of our ankles is so important to how the rest of the body is moving and supported. So the ankles have a knock-on effect to the legs, into the pelvis, into the spine. We'll do one more in this direction. And then coming back to center, we're going to ease ourselves off the hands, the wrists behind us, bring our feet together again. And here, we want to ease the flesh of the buttocks out from underneath the sitting bones so that we feel those bony protrusions in the bottom really firmly down into the mat below us. We're going to bend in our left knee first. So bending in the left knee, and you can hold underneath the back of the knee here and draw the thigh quite close towards you and flex both feet. So both feet have their toes pointing upwards. Roll your shoulder blades down the back to open your chest, firm your belly, and we'll kick for 20 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't have to make your legs straight. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Lovely job. Hug the leg just a little bit more towards you, perhaps with your forearms, and then making nice circles with your toes. So here we're just moving the knee through its other planes of movement. A little slight twist, a little slight sideways, but with no strain on the knee itself. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Let's go in the other direction as well. Good job. So we're just here working through the Palmukta asanas, energy releasing postures. We'll do one more this way. Let this foot come down to the floor. Raise the left hand up into the air. Bring the left elbow to the inside of the left knee. Lift the left foot and hold underneath around the outside of the ankle. And then bring your other hand towards your foot as well. So here we're trying to sit really tall. So keep that lift through the center of the body. A little bit of action in the belly muscles. And then we're just gently going to twist here. Really, really gentle movement. Doesn't matter how big or small your movement is, making sure that it feels easily within your range. So there's no pushing, no straining, no discomfort as the result of your movement. And that's what makes the Palmukta asanas so powerful, is that we work through the body, releasing, releasing blockages, improving the lines of energy and the flow along those lines. And they have a really profound effect on how we feel. So we're going to go from toe to head today in our quest to release tension and get a better night's sleep. And then we're going to gently ease this foot around onto our opposite thigh, so onto the right thigh. And if that feels not great for your knee or your hip, you can actually place your foot to the inside of your right thigh. It doesn't need to be on top. But if you're able to, on top. And here we're going to just stir the knee. So with your left hand on your kneecap, it's almost like you're making a circle, but it's a really subtle circle. It's a small circle. It's not going to be a big circle. Maybe it will be for you, but for me, it's definitely not a big circle. So again, sitting tall, a little bit of action in the tummy muscles, keeping the right foot extended with the toes pointing upwards, and then reversing the motion of that circle. So going in the opposite direction with your left knee. I think for me, one of the biggest effects of this posture is actually releasing the thigh muscle of the right leg, because it's a little bit like foam rollering your right quadriceps with your left ankle bones. There we are. Smashing stuff. And then we're going to straighten our bodies up. So we're going to bring the left foot in front of the left thigh, just hug it towards you a little bit, and then let the left heel slide away from you. And notice the difference between the two sides of the body. So hopefully that will feel quite different. If you need to, you can readjust your buttocks so that you take the flesh away. And then we're going to bend in the right foot, interlace the fingers behind the right thigh, and flex both feet. Sit really tall, firming the belly, dropping the shoulders down the back, and kicking for 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Lovely job. Hug that thigh towards you. Again, sitting really tall. Keeping the left foot very active, you can actually make the right foot less active as you draw big circles with the right toe. Very good. Just exploring the space. Maybe it feels different on this side. That's okay. Keeping your movements gentle, steady, not too fast. Let's go the opposite way. If you hear lots of clicking and crunching, that's not unusual, particularly if you've lived an interesting life. A little bit of crepitus, that sort of crunchy feeling, crunchy sound is okay as long as it's not associated with any pain. A little bit of clicking is what we're trying to achieve, that release of blockages or like air in the body. Bringing your foot back to center, dropping your foot down to the floor. Raise your right arm up, bring the right elbow to the inside of the right knee. Lift the right foot and hold around the back of the right ankle, or the outside of the right ankle. Hold with both hands, and then sitting as tall as you can, really firming those belly muscles, gentle twisting. This is called cradling the baby. It maybe is a little bit like that. It's a similar gentle movement that you would make. Just a light twist. And releasing. Supporting the right knee with the right hand. Again, sitting tall, stirring that right thigh bone in its hip socket. And it's a subtle movement. It doesn't need to be a really big movement. It's a really nurturing thing to do for the hips. Let's go in the opposite direction as well. And the Palmukta asanas for the low body in general are really quite good if you've got discomfort in your hips. Sometimes it works if you've got discomfort in your knees. Always doing something that makes you feel better. Okay. Do one more in this direction. Then we're going to bring the right foot in front of the right hip. Just make sure the whole of the leg is aligned before you lengthen it out straight. Aces. So then we're going to bring both feet together. So the soles of the feet together in front of the body, and it doesn't matter how far ahead of you they are. So if it feels more comfortable to take your hips away from your heels to open this space into a broader diamond shape, then you can. And if you prefer to have your heels closer towards you, you can as well. So here we're just gently going to bounce the knees. And it's a really gentle bouncing. So only do this if it feels okay. You can hold your toes, the center of your feet, your ankles, wherever feels good. We're looking for a light flutter, like a butterfly's wings. So the movement is rapid and small rather than the full range of your movement. And then we're just gently going to let that movement come to stillness. And once the body is still, we're going to draw the chest forward, so lengthening up through the crown of the head and drawing the belly muscles in, and then leaning forward out of the hips, so not bending forward from the waist and rounding through the back, but leaning forward out of the hips, drawing the chest and the heart forward, perhaps over the feet, perhaps a little bit lower if you would like to. And just taking a few deep breaths here. Draw your shoulder blades towards each other behind you. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Scoop the belly in a little, and you might find just a touch more space. And then gently releasing. We're going to keep holding on to the ankles here. I'm just going to rock from side to side. Like a weeble. This looks very funny when I'm looking at the images on the screen, both of you and me. And you can perhaps feel that effect across the buttocks and thighs, that almost foam rollery type of effect. We're releasing the fascia, we're releasing tension from the fascia. But also, it's quite nice, it's quite freeing to do this, to feel a little bit silly. It's quite important to feel silly sometimes. Okay, one more to each side. And then bringing yourself back to center. And then here, we're going to keep hold of the ankles. We're going to press our elbows into the inner thigh. So not across the knee joint, but into the inner thighs, and open our thighs up in a way that feels good. So pressing down to open the knees towards the floor. And despite many years of yoga, my knees aren't really ever going to make it any closer to the floor, I don't think. It's just the way my bones are set up. So don't worry if your knees are far away from the floor like mine. And then gently releasing. Then we're going to lean back onto the hands just a little to open the space between the belly buttons and the knees. And then press the knees to the mat under our own steam, so using our muscular effort. And here, if you have good rotation in your ankles as well, you might find that the soles of your feet point up towards the ceiling. And that's great if it happens naturally, and don't worry if it doesn't. Lovely job. Holding the knees in place as low to the floor as you can for a deep breath in and deep breath out. And then very gently relaxing. We're going to maybe just shift our hips back ever so slightly. And we're going to take a forward fold. So before we hinged forward from the hips, and this time we're going to fold forward over our feet in a way that feels good to you. So lengthening all the way up as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, folding forward, and perhaps seeing if you can come just a little bit deeper into this forward fold, and noticing how it feels compared to hinging forward from the hips. So hopefully you're still getting that hinge forward from the hips, still drawing the belly muscles in a little bit to give you some length, some space rather, still lengthening through the crown of the head. Try to avoid hunching your shoulders up towards your ears. Keep them, the shoulder blades coming away down the back, and taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then just very gently, maybe hands on the floor to give a little bit of support, come back into an upright sitting position. And we need to be careful how we come out of this. So we're going to ease the left knee up using the left arm to help, and then ease the right knee up using the right arm to help. And then we can lengthen the legs out in front of us and give the knees a little bit of a paddle, and maybe even just rock the feet from side to side to loosen off any effort there in the hips. Okay, fantastic stuff, guys. So now we've limbered to sit in our low bodies, we're actually going to sit using a block or a firm cushion of some kind. And we want to just give the buttocks a touch of support and then come into a seated pose that feels good to you. So if you know that sitting in a cross-legged position doesn't work for you, you can do this with the legs out in front of you. You can do it with the legs as I've got them, wide apart legs, but long legs. And if that feels not good in the backs of the knees, you can support those with a rolled up blanket underneath, if that's a little bit better for you. But if you're able to sit cross-legged, coming into your cross-legged position of choice. So hopefully you've all got a cross-legged position of choice, and it can be something very simple. I tend to prefer it this way round for simple cross legs and the other way round for Siddhasana, using your block as a little support. So whatever way round your legs are crossed, make a note of which leg is in front, because we're going to do it the other way round as well, okay? And then from here, with a little firmness in the belly, a little lift in the upper body, we're going to stir ourselves. So we're going to just gently make circles with our body around this seat that we're sitting on. Imagine you've got a pencil sticking up from the top of your head and you're drawing a circle on the ceiling. It doesn't matter how big the circle is, it's just a gentle stir. We'll do one more in this direction. And then we'll go in the opposite direction as well. And again, just like the Weeble, you can feel the effect of moving the body in this way. The kind of massaging effect it has. Oh, keep going in that direction, guys. I think we've had an internet issue and Morag is just joining us again. Very good. Super duper. So welcome back, Morag. We're just sitting cross-legged at the moment. So on a little block if you've got one. And then from here, we're going to again sit tall. We're just gently going to do a little side bend. So if you take your right hand down on your right side, breathe in and lift your left arm up, and then just gently leaning over to the right. We're going to breathe in, come back to center, but not drop that left hand, and then breathe out, lengthen over to the right again. Breathe in, back to center. Breathing out as we lengthen over. Breathe in, back to center. One more time. Breathing out and over. And this time we're going to hold. So here, feel like you can lengthen that left hand up and perhaps even more over, if that feels okay to you. Just exploring the space down the left side of the body. And at the same time, feel very much that your left hip is in contact with the floor, left buttock. You've got stability there. To come out, we're going to turn the left palm up to the ceiling, look up a little, breathe in as we come up, and breathe out, just allowing the left arm to come down. And then soften the shoulders here, making a note of how that feels down the different sides of the body. We can take the left hand to the floor and do the same thing. So breathe in, lift the right arm up, and as you breathe out, gently leaning over to the right side. Breathing in back to the center, breathing out and over. Breathing in and up, breathing out, lengthening to the left side. Breathing in and up, breathing out and over. One more time, and then we hold, breathing in and breathing out, coming into the posture, holding but breathing, and seeing if you can lengthen your right hand just maybe a little further over. Still a touch of stability in those abdominal muscles. Feeling yourself anchored on your right side towards the floor so that you can feel that stretch, find that space. To come out, turning the right palm up towards the ceiling, breathing in as you come up and breathing out, relaxing the arms down to the side. Hopefully that feels good in the sides of the body. And we're also going to twist here. So, excuse me. So, taking your left hand to your right thigh or knee, and then reaching the right hand in front of you, firm in the belly. Breathe in as you open the right hand behind you. Breathe out as you relax that hand down to the floor. And then we're just going to gently lift as we inhale, lift through the crown of the head. And as you exhale, use both arms to move into your twist, a touch. A deep breath in, a deep breath out. Let's do one more. Deep breath in, and a deep breath out. To come out, look to the front with only your head. Release your hands, unwind your spine, turn a little to the opposite side, and back to center. Same thing in the other direction. So taking your right hand to your left thigh or knee, reaching your left hand in front, sitting tall, breathing in as you sweep the left hand around behind you, and then breathing out as you drop it down to the floor or to the mat. Breathing in, lift through the crown of the head, firm the belly. Breathing out, use both arms to move into your twist. Take a few deep breaths here. Soften your shoulders. Maybe keep a gentle smile on your face. After your next exhalation, just turning to the front with only your head, releasing your hands, unwinding your spine, turning a little to the opposite side, and back to center. Excellent stuff. So if this position is comfortable, stay in this position. If you need a little rest for your knees, then you can lengthen the legs out, or you can take a little bit more support. We're going to reach the hands out in front of us to do Paramukta for the hands as well. So breathing in, spreading your fingers apart, breathing out, thumbs first, and then wrap the other fingers around. Breathing in, spread the fingers apart. Breathing out, thumbs in, wrap the other fingers around. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. One more, breathing in. Breathing out. And then relax the hands. Now with the whole hand. Breathe in, bring your fingers all the way back towards you. Breathing out, reach your fingers all the way under and round. Breathing in and up. Breathing out and under. Breathing in and up. Breathing out and under. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. And here, just allowing the arms to rest down for a moment, otherwise the shoulders can get a little bit tired. And you can make any movements that feel good to you. And again, if you need to release your knees, you can release your knees. So we're going to roll our wrists now. So rolling the wrists in circles, you can do this individually with your hands separated, rolling in both directions if that feels good. Or you can bring the hands together, interlace the fingers, and make figure of eights with the clasped hands. That's also quite nice. Maybe do both if that suits you. Remembering to go in both directions, whichever of these you have chosen. Very good. And then relaxing the arms down, you can shake out the hands a little bit. We're going to reach the arms out to the side with the palms turned upwards, around about shoulder height. So you don't want to lift the shoulders. So making sure that the shoulder blades are working towards each other. You've got an openness in the chest, but at the same time, you don't want them too low. Yeah. So breathing in here as you reach the hands apart, breathing out as you draw the fingertips to touch the shoulders. Breathing in, reaching the hands apart, breathing out, touching the shoulders. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. We'll do just one more. Breathing in, breathing out. Here, bring the elbows towards each other in front of the body, not together, but in front of the shoulders. We'll do the same thing in front of the body. Breathe in, reach the hands away from you. Breathe out, touch your shoulders. Breathe in, breathing out. Lovely job. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. We'll do one more here. Breathing in, breathing out. Keep the fingertips on the shoulders, but let the elbows come down. And then we can breathe in, draw the elbows together and up, big shoulder circles. Breathing out, drawing the shoulder blades towards each other and down. Breathing in, forwards and up. Breathing out, back and down. Breathing in, forwards. Breathing out, back. One more in this direction. Breathing in, forwards. Breathing out, back. Let's reverse that motion. Breathe in, opening the chest. Maybe look up if you want to. Breathing out, elbows together or towards each other and down. Breathing in, opening the chest. Breathing out, elbows in front and down. Breathing in. Breathing out, nice and slow and steady. Breathing in. Breathing out. We'll do one more in this direction. Breathing in. Breathing out. Releasing the arms down to the side. And we're going to let our legs come apart. We're going to stretch out the legs, just making note of which foot was in front or which leg was in front, giving the knees a bit of a jiggle, maybe just making windscreen wipers with your ankles, your feet. Very good. And sometimes when we sit for a long time cross-legged, we can get a feeling of tension or effort in the knees. And a really nice way to release that is to take the little fingers or the outside of your hands, place them either side of your kneecap, and just keeping the contact between your hands and your knees, just rub up and down to create a little bit of friction, a little bit of warmth. You can do it on either side of the kneecap and then change to do it above and below. So same thing, like you're trying to cut through it with your hands, I guess, creating a nice little bit of warmth. And then you can just give the kneecap a little bit of a massage, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Outside edges of the hands, either side of the kneecap. The idea is to create friction, warmth, so keeping that contact and rubbing backwards and forwards. And then top and bottom, same thing. And then giving your kneecap just a little bit of a massage. And hopefully, if you've had tension there, that makes it. Oh, please excuse me. I think we've got Balahulish is obviously having internet issues. This poor Mora keeps dropping out and coming back. Okay. So, welcome back, Morag. We're just going to cross our legs in the opposite way. So whichever way round they were before, placing them into the opposite direction. If that means that you need a little bit more support. So for me, I need to sit up on my block a little bit more to make that more comfortable for this side. Or you might want something underneath your knees like a block or a cushion. But important for balance for us to be able to do it on both sides. So once you're in your opposite way round, hands onto your knees or thighs, and we're just doing that gentle stirring to begin with. So a little firmness in the belly here, making those circles with the upper body. Enjoying this more gentle practice, more nurturing. Not more nurturing, but it is nurturing. There we are. We'll go one more time in this direction. And then in the opposite direction as well. And again, feeling that massaging of the outer hips, the buttocks, perhaps a little bit down the thighs as well. We're massaging our internal organs as we do this, which is lovely. And then one more in this direction. And coming back to center, adjusting your position if you need to. We're going to take this time the left hand down to the left, do our side stretches. So breathe in, reaching the right hand up, firm in the belly. As you breathe out, just lengthening over towards your left side. We're going to breathe in back to the center, and then breathing out, reaching over again. Breathing in back to center. Breathing out, reaching over. Breathing in back to center. This time we're going to hold as we breathe out, reaching over. Let your breath come into its natural, deep, slow rhythm and reach the right fingertips just a little bit further away from the right hip. Check here that your shoulders are not hunched up towards your ears, so avoid creating tension there. Keeping your chest open. Nice deep breaths. When you're ready, you can turn your right palm up towards the ceiling. Breathe in to come up, and then just breathe out as that arm floats down to the side. Feel the difference between the two sides of the body, and we'll do the same thing to the other side. Right hand on the ground. Breathe in, reach the left hand up. Firm in the belly and breathing out as you lengthen over to the right side. Breathe in back to the center. Breathing out, lengthening over to the right. Breathing in back to the center. Breathing out, lengthening over. Breathing in back to the center. Breathing in and over. Breathing in back to center, holding this time as we breathe out, lengthening over to the right, and there just reaching maybe the left fingers a little bit further away from the left hip, allowing the shoulder blades to be down the back to open the chest, and let your head be wherever feels comfortable for it. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Turn the left palm even up towards the ceiling. Breathe in and up, breathing out and down. Take a moment in the middle to wiggle the shoulders if they need a wiggle, and to feel the effect of that opening down the sides of the body, possibly even more profound on this go than it was on the previous one. Take your right hand towards your left knee or thigh. Reach the left hand in front of you. Sit tall as you breathe in. Open the left arm around behind you and drop the left hand down to the floor. Roll the shoulders down the back. Lift through the crown of the head as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, use both arms to move into your twist. Hold here if it's comfortable, taking a few deep breaths. You can even close your eyes if you'd like to. After your next exhalation, breathe in as you turn your head towards the center first. Breathe out, release your hands, unwind your spine, turn a little to the opposite side, and back to the center. Very good. Do the same thing to the other side. Take the left hand to the right knee or thigh. Sit tall, breathe in, reach the right hand in front of you and around behind, dropping the hand to the floor as you breathe out. Breathe in, roll your shoulders down, lift through the crown of the head. Breathe out, use both hands to move into your twist. Wherever you get to, soften your effort, release any tension you don't need. Close your eyes if you'd like to, taking some long, deep breaths. After your next exhalation, breathing in as you turn your head back to the center. Breathe out, release the hands, unwind your spine, turn a little to the opposite side, and back to the center. Excellent stuff. So we did a little few Pamukta asanas for the hands, arms, and shoulders last time. If you're comfortable sitting like this, you can stay like this. If you need to change your legs, you can. But just do something for our necks now. So we're going to use our arms as well. So if you interlace your fingers in front of you and just reach the back of the hands away from you, scoop the belly in, drop your chin towards your chest, and feel that sort of length all the way across the upper back, perhaps the back of the neck, the tops of the shoulders perhaps. Take a deep breath in and deep breath out. And then turning the palms of the hands out and sitting tall again. I'm going to breathe in, reach the arms up over the head, and breathe out, drop the shoulders down. Now here, all we're doing is a gentle sway from side to side. So just moving with your breath, perhaps. Gentle sway from side to side. A couple of times in each direction, maybe 3 in each direction. And then coming back to the center, separating the hands, allowing the arms to float down, but float back, turning the hands so that behind you, you can interlace your fingers behind you and roll your shoulder blades towards each other. Now here, we're going to spend a moment first bringing our elbows towards each other to open the chest. And you can lengthen the hands down behind you if you'd like to as well, so that the arms are a bit longer. For some people that will work. Try to avoid leaning forward to make that happen though, okay? So staying upright, elbows can be bent, rolling the shoulder blades towards each other, opening the chest, maybe even lifting the head a little to feel a little bit more openness underneath the neck, underneath the throat. And then softening the head back to center. You're going to draw the hands over to the right side of the body. So the back of the left hand at the back of the right hip and the elbow tucked in. So you've opened the chest on both sides. And here we're just going to allow the head to make gentle semicircles. So left ear to left shoulder, chin to chest, right ear to right shoulder. Okay, if that doesn't feel good to you, you don't need to make those movements. You can do gentle twisting from side to side instead with the head upright, which we're all going to do anyway. But if you can manage the semicircles, if that feels okay to you, just a couple more in each direction so that you finish with your chin towards the chest. We're going to raise our heads up, keep that right elbow tucked in, and then just gently turn to look over the left shoulder, turning back to the center, turning to look over the right shoulder, and returning to center. We'll do one more to each side. Turning to look over the right shoulder, and back to center. And then relaxing the arms, and we're going to relax the hands completely. Just shake out the wrists, roll, wiggle the fingers, do whatever feels good, and explore with your shoulders now how that feels in your chest and your neck and the upper back. Hopefully it feels awesome. And then we can interlace our fingers in the opposite direction. So whichever way you had the fingers interlaced before, whichever thumb is on top, interlace them in the opposite direction. Stretch the backs of the hands away from you, chin to chest again, scoop the belly in, lengthen through the back of the body, particularly the upper back of the neck. And then sitting upright, lengthening the head up, turning the palms out. You're going to breathe in, take the arms up over the head. Maybe feel that lift with the shoulders and then drop the shoulder blades down the back. Firm in the belly, just a gentle sway from side to side. Just finding space underneath the bottom ribs as we go from side to side. Lovely job. Coming back to the center, separating the hands, letting the arms drift down and back behind us. We want to interlace our fingers also the awkward way behind us. Okay, so see if you can do that. That's a little bit more of a feat of coordination. It might take a few tries. I had to do it both ways to be sure. We're rolling our shoulder blades towards each other, lengthening the arms a little perhaps, but drawing the elbows together. And that really helps to open the chest, to get that stretch on the pectoral muscles. We'll take a deep breath in here. And a deep breath out. Then we're going to slide the back of the right hand over to the back of the left hip and tuck the left elbow in. And here, with that lovely openness that we've got, taking the chin to the chest and just rolling one ear to one shoulder, back to center, and rolling in the opposite direction. So feeling your way here. For me, actually, it felt quite stretchy on the previous side, but now it doesn't feel so stretchy on this side, which is great. And that means our yoga's working. We're opening, we're freeing space, creating space for our energy to move, not just our bodies. Next time you come to center, drawing the head upright, and we're just gently going to look over the left shoulder, back to the center. Keep that elbow tucked in, over to the right shoulder, and back to center. One more time to each side. And over to the left, right even, and back to center. And allowing the hands to come back down the back and just release from each other. Wiggling through the fingers, shaking out the wrists, rolling the elbows, not the elbows, the wrists. You can roll your elbows if you want to. And then when you're ready, you can gently uncross your legs again. And that might take a little bit of doing. We've sat cross-legged for a lot of this class. And so, wiggling your knees, maybe windscreen wipering your feet. Excellent stuff. Wiggling the knees again, windscreen wipering the feet. And then just bringing your knees in towards you, creating a little seated child's pose. So drawing the knees close towards you, wrapping your arms around, taking your chin towards your chest, if you can, even your forehead towards your knees, if that feels good. And just taking a couple of deep breaths here. Postures that bring our chest and thighs towards each other, that close down the front of the body, can be very consoling, relaxing, nurturing, tranquilizing. If you tend towards being quite extroverted or quite dynamic, then they can be a little bit more challenging because you can feel constricted here. If that's the case, you can just keep your body a little bit more open, taking the knees apart and making a more open wrap around them. So from here, we're going to come back to child's pose, but we're going to do it differently. We're going to do a couple of things on the way down as well. So if you come to hands and knees, and we're going to lengthen first the left leg behind us, and just with the toes on the floor, just make some circles with the upper body, or the rest of the body rather. Almost circling with the ankle, circling with the hips. And then sliding the left knee back underneath us, lengthening out the right leg and doing the same thing. Circling with the ankle, circling with the hips. You can go in both directions if you're so inclined. Keeping your belly muscles working a little bit as well. And then bringing your knees back down to the mat. A little bit of cat-cow pose here. So inhaling, lengthening the chest, and then exhaling, scooping the belly in, rounding through the back. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, rounding under. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, rounding under. Coming back to a neutral position, and then just making any movements that feel good. I like to do a little sort of twist and turn with my shoulders and my hips. So you get alternate lengthening and twisting and opening across the sides and the front and the back of the body. And you can go in the opposite direction as well. You may prefer just to stir your navel on the floor or something like this. Very good. Coming back to the center, we're going to take our toes together and knees really quite far apart, and then settle our hips back towards our heels and forehead towards the floor. If your forehead doesn't come down to the floor, please feel free to use a block or support or a bolster underneath the body. It's really important to have your head supported in your child's pose for it to be relaxing. This variation of child's pose is probably one of the more comforting and relaxing postures. It's a little bit deeper in the hips. You get length in the spine that's not so curved, which is quite good. With the arms over the head, opens that space underneath the armpits, keeps the chest quite open as well. So here, taking some long, deep breaths. Softening the features of your face. And if that doesn't come naturally or easily, just smiling softly. Noticing the difference between holding your face in tension and that soft, gentle smile. Really release the elbows towards the floor, the weight of the upper body, the head. Then when you're ready, you can bring your hands underneath your shoulders and come up onto hands and knees again. So one of the best postures that I know of to help ease the tension, particularly out of the hips, is Pigeon Pose. So we're going to do Pigeon Pose just now. So sliding first forward with your left knee, and you can take the left knee towards the left ankle, left wrist, and then bring your left foot over to the right side as much as feels comfortable, and then slide your right knee backwards so that you end up in your pigeon pose like this, supported with your upper body, hands on the floor. Now, how far over your foot comes towards the right is dependent on how the rotation in your knees and hips works. So if you haven't got as much rotation, your left foot could be right underneath your left thigh, or just a little bit further over. And if you've got really great rotation, your left foot could be the sole of it along the long edge of your mat. But for me, I'm kind of in between. And here, we're going to spend our first few breaths with the upper body supported. Some long, deep breaths. The idea is to keep the hips fairly square, but if that really doesn't suit your left knee, you can drop your left hip down towards the mat as well. It's a slightly different stretch, but it's similar. And we may do both anyway, as we're here. So after our first few deep breaths, we're going to take the forearms down to the mat. And you can either use a block or a brick or a cushion underneath the forehead to rest the head down. Or you might find that the backs of your hands is enough. Or you might find that you prefer to lengthen your arms as far away from you as feels comfortable to drop your head down. So whichever of these is the most comfortable. Today, I think I'm going to take a block. And again, trying in this variation, if it's possible, to keep the hips fairly square. And just take some deep breaths, softening the shoulders, softening the effort across the abdominal muscles. And for those of you who would like to try it, you can come up or you can stay where you are if you don't want to try it. So if you want to try it, you can come up and then just gently drop your left hip, your left buttock down to the left side. So you get a slight opening across the abdomen, a little gentle twist. And if that feels good, then you can come into the extended version with your left hip on the floor, or left buttock on the floor, left thigh towards the floor. And see if that maybe suits you, maybe it doesn't. Whichever variation you prefer, holding as you close your eyes and gently breathe for another 3 deep breaths. After your next exhalation, gently lifting the head, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders and bringing yourself back to center. You want to uncurl. So tuck the back toe under, firm the belly muscles and gently uncurl. Slide your left leg back and let it lift just a little. Here we want to keep the right knee soft, the elbows soft. We're not doing a full 3-legged dog, but just lifting the left leg enough to rotate the foot at the ankle a few times and then come back down onto hands and knees. In the center, if you want to, you can take a little child's pose if you need a little bit more time. And otherwise, you can bring your right knee towards the right and then open your right foot over to the left side as much as feels comfortable to come into pigeon on the opposite side. Sliding back with the left hip. And then taking a few moments here in this upright version, you can bend your elbows as much as feels comfortable, just keeping your shoulders down, a little bit of action in the belly muscles in this variation. You might find that you've got a little bit of action in your buttock muscles as well. When you're ready, you can come down onto your forearms and support your head, either by lengthening the arms away from you or taking something underneath the forehead itself. Taking some long, deep breaths here. Exploring this pose to begin with. And if you want to, you can stay in this pose. And if you prefer, you can come back upright, drop your right hip down to the floor, and then lower yourself over your right thigh to explore that slightly different variation with the hips. I personally find that suits my knee on this side just a little bit better than the classical variation. So wherever you get to, softening the shoulders, the abdominal muscles, the features of the face, and taking some long, deep breaths. At the end of your next exhalation, just preparing to bring yourself into a more upright position, supporting the body weight with the arms underneath the shoulders, tucking the back toe, and then gently as you lift your hips, slide your right leg backwards. Maybe lift it up a little, rolling your ankle a couple of times in each direction. You can keep your left knee bent. We're not really looking for a great down dog today. And then bringing your feet back down to the mat. We're going to again take the knees into this wide-legged variation of the child's pose. Hips back to the heels, softening the forehead towards the floor. Or to some support if you prefer. Taking another couple of breaths. And when you're ready, you can come up again. And we're going to set ourselves up for some legs up the wall relaxation. So we're going to do some breathing when we get into our position. And you can either use the wall, or today I'm going to use the chair so that you can see how to use it. If you happen to have a bolster or a rolled blanket, you can always put this underneath your hips as well. A block will do, any of these things. So I'm going to move some of my equipment out of the way to bring this chair onto my mat. So if you happen to be in your space and you've got a sofa, or perhaps if you're in a spare bedroom, a bed or a dining chair, and you don't have a piece of wall you can easily get to, then you can set yourself up on your chair and actually give yourself a little bit more support with all of these bits and pieces. So to come into legs up the wall, we do the same as we would do for the wall if we're using the chair. We sit quite close to the chair, side on, and you're going to allow your torso to come down as your legs come up, and just resting your heels onto your chair to begin with. If you want to, you can get yourself a little bit closer, but you don't want to have your feet necessarily forced into the back of the chair, so a light touch is fine. If you find that your knees are over the top of the chair, and I'll have to use a block underneath my bottom to show that, and so that you're not getting your low legs supported by the chair itself, you can pop a block or a cushion onto the chair seat, and that will give you the support you need. So what we want is the low legs to be supported and the knees to be pretty much over the hips if possible. Super duper. So we are going to use something underneath our backs as well to begin with. So if you have a block or a cushion handy, rolled blanket or a bolster would do any of these things, then you can gently lift your hips and place the block on its lowest setting underneath the hips, and then rest the hips down. And if you want to, you can lengthen your feet a little bit further up, just to give yourself that sense of extending the legs if you're not working with the wall. And for this bit, that will be okay. So whichever position you end up in, making sure it's nice and comfortable, you have a slight lift in the hips. We're going to turn the palms upwards and allow the arms to rest away from the body. And maybe you might need to shuffle your shoulders around to get comfortable. If you ever find that space between the shoulder blades isn't so comfy, then you can wrap one arm over the other across the chest and just drape the fingers towards the floor and feel that space between the shoulder blades, really getting contact with the ground. A few deep breaths in this position. We'll allow that part of the body to begin softening and releasing, and then you can allow your arms to drift back to the sides of the body. You want your shoulders to be really relaxed here. And for some people, turning the palms upwards is not so helpful. Maybe the palms are towards the body. If you turn the palms downwards, generally that tips the front of the shoulders forwards, so avoid doing that if you can. If you have great openness across the shoulders, you may want to have your arms over your head and the elbows resting towards the floor, so the whole of the arm is supported. If your hands are in mid-air, if your elbows are in mid-air, with the arms up over the head, it's just not a good position for relaxation for you. And you can release them back to the sides. Whatever position you find yourself in, making sure it's comfortable. And then releasing all the effort in your abdominal muscles. Letting your legs really relax into their support so you can release the effort of the hip flexors, the buttocks, the thighs. Feel a softening of the effort across your wrists and hands and arms, shoulders, chest. Allow your face to soften. And let's just do a little tense and relax with the face to really let go of any tension there. So screwing all the muscles of the face in towards the nose, tight lemon sucking face. Then open the eyes, open the mouth, stick out the tongue and exhale. Closing your eyes. Gently rolling your head from one side to the other. A couple of times in each direction. Easing any residual tension out of the neck and the shoulders.
When you're ready, you can bring your head back to center. And just make any adjustments to your posture that you need to before bringing your body back to stillness. Allow your breath to be deep and even. Trust your energy here. So the action of taking the legs up in this way automatically has a tranquilizing effect on our energy, on the mind, on the body. It may not feel so profound, but it happens deep. It happens within. You can trust that process. And if you find it a little bit of a challenge to simply be, to simply relax, you can give your mind a gentle task to do. It could be watching your breath, simply observing the sensations of the breath, the movement of the breath. It could be that you want to count your breath. And that can be quite useful to count the length of your inhalation, the length of your exhalation. And without tension or strain, just gently lengthening your exhaled part of the breath. You do that by simply slowing it down. Taking normal, natural breaths in. Not too deep, not too forceful. And slowing down your exhalation. So it's a little longer, softer, deeper. You may choose to extend your exhalation a little further, keeping the whole body soft, the face without tension. You can allow your out breath to get steadily longer and longer. Allowing your breath to continue in this way. If you've got your arms over your head, just bringing them down again to closer to your sides. And again, allowing your breath to remain in that rhythm. If you're up on a block with your buttocks, then just gently releasing the block out from underneath you. Gently bring your awareness back into your hands and your feet by wiggling your fingers, your toes, maybe rolling your feet at the ankles, your hands at the wrists. And when you're ready, you can gently turn your head from side to side. Keep your head supported by the floor, but just releasing the neck by turning a little side to side. Maybe take a deep breath in when you're ready. Stretch your legs, stretch your arms, stretch your face and your and then bend your knees into your chest and hug them towards you. And make any movements that feel good, a little bit of rocking from side to side or circling backwards and forwards can be quite nice. If you're at the wall, you might want to shift yourself away from the wall. If you're at a chair, you can move your chair slightly away as well. Keeping your eyes closed if you can. Gently roll to one side and take a moment lying on your side. Support your head with your hands. When you're ready, come into any comfortable upright position with your eyes gently closed. Today we're going to bring our palms together, but keep them together at the chest and lift the chest up. With your eyes gently closed, imagine yourself standing at the back of your head, looking forward towards your closed eyelids. And see the light gently permeating the eyes. Note the upper eyelids, the lower eyelids, and the touch point of the lids. And then gently blinking your eyes open. Namaste, guys. Thank you for joining me for this gentle releasing practice to help you sleep better. And it really will.